But here we are with all of you, because we have to cope with this big ugly bill.
I I'm just trying to here's what I'm trying to figure out, Liz. How
Hmm.
what's going to be the realization moment for MAGAs in rural parts of the country that the leopards are eating their faces first? Because they're going to get hit
Hmm.
the hardest. They are going to get hit the worst when rural
Yeah.
hospitals close down, when 40% of children who are born due to Medicaid are having difficulty because they can't get basic care, when infant mortality starts to skyrocket, maternal mortality starts. What's going to be the moment where they're going to be like, "Oh crap, what did we do?" Because it's
Yeah.
too late by then. It's just too late by then. And
Hmm.
I pity them, but also it's like, my God, just your racism was so strong. You couldn't stand to look past these absurd policies. Somebody sent me a nasty email saying that they're not cutting healthcare for 16 million Americans. They're cutting healthcare for the 16 million
Yeah.
illegals in this
I saw
country. I'm
that.
like, my God, how
Hmm.
stupid are
Yeah,
you?
yeah, 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 yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. What's going to happen
Yeah.
when that happens?
Well, they've just been lied to, right? And like even this morning and all week, the press secretary has just been like spewing so many lies about the bill,
Yep,
like saying that it doesn't increase the deficit, right? Like
yep.
um focusing on like there's no tax on tips, like as if that makes up for first of all, it's only until $25,000, which if you've worked for tips, you know that that's not going to pay for
Not
your
much,
rent.
yeah. It's not everything. Yeah,
But yeah, it's just such a cruel, like again, I think I've struggled even about how to post about it because it is such a dangerous, vile, um, despicable bill. And obviously it worked, the pressure.
yep,
Like I do want people who are listening right now to know you have made a tremendous difference in I don't know if you followed the votes last night,
yeah,
but literally like
yeah,
Republicans running away, right?
yep.
Running away, voting no and running away. Um, and right now they're in meetings, they're getting calls, they know that especially the vulnerable ones coming in the midterms, this is going to be a really really difficult thing for them to come back from. And to your
Yeah.
point, people, I mean, there's already a rural hospital in Nebraska that closed this morning, right, in anticipation of these cuts. I was looking at Bernie Sanders shared a really good infographic with like the number of people in every state that are going to be losing their health care, and the number one is Alabama. Like
There you go.
Alabama is like, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So to your point, this is just, yeah, gonna, and the county where the first rural hospital closed in Nebraska is
yep.
is voted for Trump.
And,
So it's like, how do you not pile on and say, right, like help these people? I mean, at this point, right, like help these people understand as opposed to make them sink into their position even
yeah,
harder.
it's one thing for us to be able to help, but what they've done is they were hanging by a rope, and they've cut that rope themselves, and they're free falling. So now
Uh,
it's like, even if we wanted to help you, we can't. It's not out of cruelty. We're not cruel like you. It's you've put yourself in a position where you cannot be helped any longer, because it will get worse, and you can't just hit the undo button, right? Once
yeah.
people die and suffer, they've died and suffered. You can't undo that. Liz, I also I'm deeply concerned. Like this, as angry and as upset as I am about the healthcare aspect of it, and this, I say this as a father who just lost my father to
Mhm.
Parkinson's, have a daughter with a chronic condition. I'm equally, if not more, disturbed by the explosion of ICE funding. Um,
Yeah.
we're talking like 100 billion more in ICE funding, and the building of these concentration camps, the expansion of the police state. This stuff doesn't get undone. There's no example in
Mhm.
history where a country has come back from this. This is de facto authoritarian, and I don't
Mm.
think people are realizing how serious it's about to get.
Yeah, and that part, right? That it can't be undone, right? Some of the numbers that we're talking about, again, it's just it's I think outside of the scope that we can even understand, where ICE would be the largest federal force, like
Yeah,
the most funded federal force in the world.
yeah,
It will be funded more than the entire U.S. The entire Israel military, more than Brazil's entire military budget, right? It is just like
yeah,
the scope of it is so big. And to your point, It's been talked about, but because there's so many awful things, in the bill, like one of the things that's been estimated is like 51,000 people are going to just die from this bill.
Yes.
That has sort of, those have been the headlines, but you're 100% right. Even if somehow, well, I'm curious to know from you're an expert on this, let's say that Trump loses and let's say there's an election. Okay, let's
Yeah.
say there's an election.
Yes.
Let's say that Trump loses. Let's say that somehow the Republicans respect the results, and don't totally erode democracy more than they have already. Like what you're saying is basically that funding for ICE is going to stay there.
Well, it would require another Herculean legislative effort to reallocate that funding as well. I mean, in theory, it can be done, but historically, there has never been a moment in American history where funding for the prison industrial complex or the military industrial complex has been undone. I mean, I went back and looked at the data. When the Iraq and Afghan war started, the military budget was something around $280 billion. Pretty astronomical and absurd. We went through 20 years of wars with those countries, invading those countries, got the budget to $750 billion. And now those wars are over, allegedly, and we just increase the budget again every year after that, year after year after year. And so it's one of those things where the money doesn't just dissipate. It's used to justify more, and because now you've built these camps. Now you got to maintain these camps, right? Now you've got people locked up in these camps. You got to maintain that. It's going to private prison industries, and now there's a huge private prison industries that says, "I don't want to give up my money. I'm going to justify." And when I say it can't be reversed, what I mean is, let's say hypothetically they round up all the so-called illegals, right? Well, you just need to find new people to lock up in there. And Trump is already saying he's going to denaturalize citizens who are naturalized, people like me. He's already said he's going to come after the homegrowns, the people who are causing trouble. And this is again, it's a textbook out of the Hitler playbook, which is out of the Jim Crow era playbook in the U.S. But people forget that prior to directly coming after Jewish people, he went after communists and socialists. Yeah. And we're seeing the exact same demonization of socialists and communists here as well. And then obviously, he was an anti-Semitic sociopath and he went after Jewish people en masse as well. But I keep going back to the Martin Niemeyer poem that it comes in waves like this. And so even if we take back the House in 26 and the Senate, and even if we win in 28, which we'll talk about my frustration with the establishment Democrats in a moment, that doesn't just mean that all this stuff magically goes away. It doesn't, and that's the frightening part about it. And it remains to be seen who the next demographic is. But we've seen the attacks on trans people, we've seen the attacks on immigrants, the attacks on Muslims, the attacks on people with disabilities. Women who are considered that, if a woman says, I don't want to have a child, well, maybe, maybe she's not a functioning member of society. 100%. Maybe we should throw her in here.
Yeah.
And that's not outside the realm of possibility.
Yeah. In Hungary, there was that big pride parade that turned into basically a larger, demonstration against, the authoritarian government there after they threatened to arrest people with, facial recognition, all that stuff. And that was a huge win. I think it's important to highlight those wins. Even though there's a lot to be angry about, there's also things that are, again, people getting together in collective action that's working. But I think what was really, they interviewed a woman that was, unmarried or a single mom, basically. And when she was like, I'm here because I don't count as a family for the government. Like she doesn't qualify for, the kind of assistance that families get. And so and as we know, there's so many creepy things that JD Vance, and Republicans have said, right? Like we all, again, feels like a fever dream, but like the whole cat ladies thing, right? Like they've been going after single women for so long, and the whole Tribe Life movement. And, I don't know if anyone saw the Turning Point USA women's conference that happened, last week, with just them pushing this idea of like, get a husband, and like that should be your priority, and like even though you're in school and you're 21 and your career should be second, right? And so these values, it's so, to your point, not far from where we're at right now. But can we talk?
Well, you had a post. You had a post that I wanted you to talk a bit more about, because I don't think enough people have seen it yet. That the oldest woman who could get a credit card from the time that she was born is only 48 years old. 48.
Yeah.
Talk about that. I don't think people realize the significance of that statement or why she can only be 48.
Yeah, it's again, it feels, I think, wild to us because women have gone so far in so little time. And in a way, sometimes it feels again like a fever dream when we have these articles about like, well, women are getting ahead and women are doing so well, and now we're good. We have to focus on men. I'm like, do you know how hard it was for women to get where they are now? Obviously, I'm sorry, I don't want to take us down a whole other, path, but, there's a lot of gender, sort of differences, right? In terms of who's graduating from college. Women are now twice as likely to graduate from college, but they weren't allowed to go to college,
Yeah.
40, 50 years ago, right?
Yep.
Or they were, co-ed. They weren't allowed to go to school with men. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was the first woman in her law school. Like, this is not many generations ago. It's very recent. And yeah, women couldn't own credit cards. Women, until until 1980, being raped by your husband was just a regular Tuesday.
1993. That was 1993, by the way.
Federally,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
1980,
federally.
I
Yeah.
think, was the first state.
State,
And
exactly. Yeah.
so, yeah, it's so recent. And again, power to women. And to me, there's a really good sort of metaphor here for just realizing our power and what we can do, even when people are trying to hold us down, even when people weren't telling women they couldn't even own credit cards. Look at how far we've come, with collective activism, right, and civic engagement. And I do think in times like these, it's so important to remind people of those things. I have to tell you the stupidest thing I've ever done, but I just was at my wit's end. I was driving here with my friend James, and I just was, very depressed and heartbroken. And I don't know if you feel like this with your audience and the people who are listening to us right now, where I felt like I let down people because I told everyone to call Congress and I told you to flood their socials and flood their donors, and we lost, right? Like that the bill passed. And I just thought, well, I'm sure Harriet Tubman had a lot of things, like a lot of jerks pissed her off. How did she keep going, right? And so I told ChatGPT, which I'm sorry, I know it's controversial as use AI, but I was like, pretend like you're Harriet Tubman and like, what would you tell me to do? Like how would you tell me to fight? And by the way, it's not good. It was very basic, and hearing it from the mouth of like a white guy AI, not recommended. But I do think it's important. I think with social media, we have so much access to information, which is amazing, but that means more access to negative things, right?
Right.
And so I think it is important. We had a New York primary that was amazing a week ago. Right. That there was that Pride Parade in Hungary. I do think it's important, as much as this is horrifying, to also give ourselves time to think about the things that we've done well, to give ourselves time to and sort of savor those victories, because we will have more victories, right? But
You're
yeah,
right.
how do you feel when things like this happen and you've mobilized people and you feel discouraged?
I channel the rage. I mean,
Mhm.
I truly channel the anger and the rage. There's a scene in the first Avengers movie where, there's a theme in the whole movie of how they get Dr. Banner to, how does he control his anger? Like, how does he prevent himself from turning into the Hulk? And they keep trying to provoke him to turn into the Hulk. And at the very end, there's like this epic scene where this giant alien spaceship is coming at him, or Space Master's coming at him. And I think Captain America says to the character, Bruce Banner, is being played by Mark Ruffalo. He says, now might be a good time to get angry. And he looks back at him and he says, "That's my secret. I'm always angry." And he transforms into the Hulk, and he smashes the alien monster.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm not gonna have rippling muscles come out and turn into a green monster. But for me, I'm always angry. I'm always angry because
Yeah.
if it wasn't this bill, it's the genocide in Gaza. If it's not the genocide in Gaza, it's the starvation of Sudan. If it's not the starvation of Sudan, it's the fact that 1 in 6 Americans are food insecure. If it's not that, it's the fact that 1 in 3 women will suffer sexual abuse at some point in their lifetime, and 98% of rapists and men will walk free from that. And so for me, it's not a matter of being angry for the sake of just being angry. It's, how do I channel that rage? How do I take that anger? Because I don't like just being angry without a solution. I need an outlet.
Mhm.
And for me, that outlet is, how do I raise money for a good cause? How do I provide pro bono legal services to someone who's maybe suffering abuse or needs asylum services? How do I build something that doesn't exist to facilitate the work that we're doing? And I think that's what I'm feeling right now. It is anger. It is rage. But it's also channeling that. And I look to people throughout American history, especially James Baldwin was asked about this, that how do you overcome the despair that you feel?
Mm,
And he corrects a journalist and he goes, I don't despair. I'm angry, but I don't
yeah.
despair. I can't tell the children that there's no hope. You cannot tell
Yeah.
the children that there's no hope. And so
Yeah.
maybe it's easier said than done, but that's how I manage in these kinds of situations.
Yeah.
What's your secret?
Yeah. And thank God James Baldwin didn't just like doom scroll in bed, in order to, just to avoid the
Yeah,
frustration. And you've seen those there's so much obviously scholarship, but there's also these interviews, right? Where he's just having to deal with idiots, and jerks and
yeah,
racism, just like bold face. And yeah, thank God he got angry in those
yeah,
moments. And I feel the same way. I mean, I have parents who were big activists, and so they give me really good advice when I do feel despair, and I just go, "Ugh, I'm just gonna move back to Canada. I'm just gonna work as a librarian." And then, even though they would love me to do that, they would
yeah,
love that for me because they'd have me back. They always tell me rest, right? Like one day at a time, and
yep,
the way that you feel now is not the way that you're gonna feel tomorrow, or not
that's
even the
right.
way you're gonna feel after you have a live esteem and you feel so hopeful and you have all these
Yep,
amazing people who are saying, joining us from all over the world, joining us for this conversation and joining us for this fight. Like, I feel invigorated. And to your point, I think as long as there is no wrong emotion. And actually, I think it's great that people are feeling things. I think
yep,
the worst thing we can, have, and I see this a lot with Gen Z. I don't know if there's any Gen Zers who are joining us, where they've just been hit so many, they've sort of
apathy.
millennials. We got lucky. We just had this like optimistic 2010s era where we thought everything was going to get better, and politicians use social media for good, and
Yeah,
Arab Spring, right? We were like, oh, great. And so I think my default is optimism. But also when I'm not, I take care of myself.
yep,
And I really encourage everyone to do that. Like, doom scrolling doesn't help. Like, it helps the enemy, I think,
yeah,
actually. Um, Eating
yeah,
like a donut, that helps you, and that helps the
absolutely.
movement.
Absolutely. I like, I'll run. I'm
Yeah.
a runner. I run. I play pickleball.
Mm,
I'll wrestle with my kids. Like I'll find some
yeah.
way just to like physical
Outlet.
contact. Yeah, physical contact is critical in
Oh.
these times as well. Like don't be
Mhm.
isolated. Even a hug can go a long way. And there's like science behind this, but also like
Yeah.
get involved locally. And I think we talked about
Yes.
this last time too. Get involved
Yes.
locally. Do something productive locally, and you'll begin to see the impact rise. I'll also say, Liz, I think our generation is the best one because we had the 90s where there was just enough internet to connect with people, but not
No.
anywhere near enough to like
No.
consume you. There was no major wars happening. There were some. I don't want to discount, some of the horrible things
Mhm.
that happened, but overall, like we didn't have the sociopaths in the White House and in Congress the
Yeah.
way we have right now. And so I think we do have that luck. And I think part of my mission is to get back to that world where there's like
Mhm.
a nice happy balance. So what is your so you're gonna dust yourself off, pick yourself back up. What's the first thing you do once you kind of get back on your feet and start to work again?
Well, I think I want there to be a plan, right? I want to come back to all of you, and again, and this is a two-way street. Like, I'm, taking what you're saying on this chat. I'm listening to what people are saying and feeling. And yeah, my thing is always like, what do people need in order to stay in it? Right? And enough information to like actionable steps, but
Yep.
also hope to keep them, engaged in it. And I totally agree with you. I'm obsessed with the idea of like how to bring back these, the way that and not to like talk about the 2010s the entire life, but just the way that we gathered.
Yeah.
I think much more definitely before 2020, but it was already, declining, and how to use maybe a digital space to do that. Like something, and I feel like I brought this up on our last live, but I would love for us as a community, and maybe it's something we can do because you have such an amazing audience, an amazing
Likewise.
community. I'm so lucky. I don't know how I got so lucky. I'm like the smartest, sweetest people. Every time someone comes up to me, I'm like, "You're the best." um, and so I would love to figure out one race or one law, right? One policy, one thing that we can work on, and all, in the way that you would do it with a community center or sort
Yeah.
of a movement in person. Okay, I'm really good at memes. I'm going to do memes about this. Oh, I'm really good at, I have a cafe and
Yeah.
it's in the state where this thing is happening, so I can hold an event. Oh, I'm really good at knitting, so I'll do a,
Yeah.
like I would love to delegate and create a real thing, a small thing again locally that we can fight and see a direct impact for,
Yeah.
and maybe using Substack or again these sort of lives as a way to work on these things. Like at one point and I don't know if anyone did this, but I was like, I want to go live and just phone bank, right? Like,
Yeah.
or again, just be cyberbullying Congress while we're on
Yep.
our live,
Yep.
and
Yep. I love
let's
it.
have a drink and snacks. And what about you? Yeah, where's your head at?
I mean, those things make a difference and they matter. And I will say, just to add on to your really thoughtful point, somebody just made a comment that they wish they could send us money to support the work we're doing. And the thing is, like, I'm gonna lean into that. And y'all need to understand, this stuff costs money. This stuff is exhausting. And so, if you aren't already a paid subscriber to Liz, you should be a paid subscriber to Liz because it
Like a
goes
scene.
a long
Yeah.
way. If you can be a paid subscriber to me as well, be a paid subscriber because it goes a long way. Look, we are up against these billion-dollar corporations that are capitulating to Trump. Paramount just settled for 16 million against Trump. CBS, ABC, whatever, 15 million. Facebook, 25 million. Target eliminated their DEI initiatives to appease Trump. Columbia University has a $15 billion endowment, but they're on their hands and knees begging Trump for support. It's embarrassing that
Mhm.
the nation's most powerful law firms, $100 million in free legal services. Are you kidding me? Like, the level of cowardice for people, like, I've always thought, I'm going to talk over myself, but like, I've
Go for
always
it.
thought the coolest thing about being a billionaire is
Yeah.
having like FU money. Like, if you have that money and you're still groveling before a fascist, what is wrong with you? Like, I
Hmm.
don't understand these people. So for those who have the means to support us financially by being paid subscribers, God bless you for it because it goes a
Yeah.
long way. It's heartfelt. It's well received. And I also want to say, if you're not in a position to support financially, okay, love you
Mhm.
anyway. Share the content,
Yeah.
engage with it. It goes a long way as well. And so that's kind of how I think about it. And I will say, Liz, I mean, I think one of the things that's helped me be successful is taking the best practices. Like, oh, how did Liz do that? Or how did she present that or frame that? And I adopt that in a way that makes sense for me. And it's like the scholarship. And that's why I love sharing your content because I'm like, the scholarship is fantastic. Let me make sure my people have eyes on it as well. And I think that's how we have to uplift each other. So to everyone watching, be gratuitous in elevating people with your platforms. The number one reason anyone does anything in the world is because somebody they care about said, "Hey, this is probably a good idea." So be
Yeah.
be that person.
Thank you. You're so generous. Oh my God. I feel so lucky to get to be your friend and get to do this with you. And you have to tell me when you have to go, but I'm curious, how do you view the Democratic leadership at this point?
I I'm
Beyond like truth serum, like let's just be real.
I I'm I want to be measured in my response because obviously the Republican Party is now a fascist party, and I'm enraged at Trump, at Mike Johnson, at all the Republican Party leadership, and all the ones who are just cowardly capitulating to what's happening right now.
Mm.
I'm also furious that the Democratic Party leadership continues to bring a spoon to a gunfight. I mean, Chuck Schumer bragging about changing the name of the bill. I'm like, give me a freaking break, dude. You're rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic is what you're doing.
Mhm.
Or him bailing out Trump by not letting Trump shut down the government. Like, Trump is the one who messed up. Let him own that mess up. What are you doing? Why are we even having
Yeah.
this conversation? Or even right now, Zoran Mamdani doubles turnout of young people, gets record high voter turnout. 25% have never voted in any election in the history of the city. And Tom Souza, the congressman from New York, I think third district, he replaced what's his face, George. What's the guy's name? The George Santos. He replaced George
Oh, yeah,
Santos.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And what does he do? He, while we're fighting this battle with the Republicans, he publishes an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal condemning Zoran Mamdani as not what we need right now. I'm like,
Mhm.
my dude, you guys have a 26% approval rating. 70% of Democrats want new Democratic Party leadership.
Exactly.
And rather than looking at the one guy crushing it, you're demonizing him. Yes, Kirsten Gillibrand calling him an Islamic terrorist and global jihad and nonsense. Like, give me a
Mhm.
freaking break. So I'm enraged at Democratic Party leadership for not having the courage to fight for what we need, for being owned by so many of the same billionaires and corporate PACs and APAC that own Republicans, and for not reading the room, not seeing the young people who are doing what needs to be done, running on a positive platform. I mean, you can look at Zoran Namdani's platform and compare it to FDR, and you will not find a difference. You will not find a difference.
Yeah.
And he's an FDR Democrat, and I wish he would use that term instead of Democratic Socialist. I don't think people know what the hell
Mhm.
Democratic Socialist is, but people
Yeah.
understand FDR Democrat, and it's
Right.
a shame that the. So I will correct myself on one thing. I don't think the Republican Party is dead. I think what the Republican Party was has turned into a MAGA party, and corporate
Mhm.
Democrats have become Republican light. They're trying to fill that void,
Mm.
and we don't have a true leftist party in this country right now, and that's why we're seeing this rightward lurch in everything we do.
Yeah. But at the same time, not to give Trump any credit for anything, but what he did to the Republican Party is I remember going to CPAC in 2016 and not finding, I had just started at Vox. And my whole bit was like, oh, I'll talk to Republicans about Trump because Trump was this like rogue candidate. I
Yeah,
could not find a single Republican at CPAC who wanted Trump as their nominee.
yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
And as we know,
Yeah,
he just took the party, took it wherever he wanted it to go.
yep,
And that's where I think, again, not to be inspired by him in any way, but what Zoran was able to do is that with also nothing. I mean, this
yes,
Zoran isn't like,
yeah,
a Nepo baby, right? Trust
no,
fund. In fact, he was, in a matter of weeks, I mean, changed the
1%.
entire game.
Yeah,
Yeah, in the
yeah,
entire game. And so we know that it's possible. And by the way, coming back to our original point about not giving up, if he had given up, right? If he had been, well, I'm just at 1%, and
yep,
Andrew Cuomo has all these,
yep,
millions of dollars pouring in. Thank God he didn't, right?
yep,
And that's
yep,
when you never know when the breakthrough is coming. And I think that's where I want all of us. I mean, that's the energy.
yeah.
And it's so fascinating to me to I don't know if you've seen these sort of are you on TikTok or you're like too smart for that?
No,
Well,
I'm on
you're on
TikTok.
TikTok, but are
I am
you
on TikTok.
scrolling? No, are you scrolling? Because I know I've seen you all over my TikTok.
I,
You're like one of the main,
I'll
you
scroll,
know.
and maybe not 2 hours a day, but I'll spend a few minutes on there just to make sure I get a vibe of what's going on. Yeah,
Well, there's been these really, and tell us if you've seen these, but there's these really good edits that people have been doing of just his events, right? And where it looks like a rap concert, right? Or
yeah,
a hip hop
yeah,
show. And then you
yeah,
see him pop out and that's the energy, right? Like, and
yeah.
then yeah, someone was doing a play by play of like, and then this is Chuck Schumer. I think Ken Klippenstein did this on
Ken
his
did that.
Instagram,
Yeah, I
actually.
saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's just so brilliant. And yeah, I mean, obviously running a campaign costs something, but it doesn't cost anything to be fun and it doesn't cost anything to be real. And to your point, I think you're right. Democratic Socialist has like gone such a bad rap, but they're going to call us socialists
no
anyways.
matter what.
They
Yeah,
called Nancy Pelosi a socialist. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, it's just going to, at one point, and oh, I was going to say this about the concentration camp. I'm curious on your take on this, the merch, right, that they've been posting. If people haven't seen, the Alcatraz concentrate, detention center, they gave all these right wing influencers merch, and they're posting about it and
yeah,
making jokes about people being eaten by alligators, and it's almost like they do own it. I feel like, again, Democrats try and constantly prove like, no, we're not so left. No, we're not. We don't just like want, immigrants to have health care. We're not that. And we always it's like, we just don't, it's like we try and play this middle, right? And
yeah.
to your point, it just becomes Republican light. And the right just like leans
Yeah.
into just the parody
That's it.
of what they're going to be told that they are, except they are.
Yep.
And yeah, I think there's like a lesson there. It's
Yeah.
like,
When you're it's being on the offensive versus being on the defensive. Democrats are
right,
constantly on the defensive of what
right.
they're not, and Republicans just kind of lean into it and say, we're going to do whatever the hell it is that we want to do. There's I want to, there's 2 points I want to make. One, about, I'm glad you brought up the alligator Alcatraz thing. people need to understand the deep history of fascism and white supremacy behind this. In antebellum America, in Jim Crow America, there was this like fetish that white supremacists had, and this actuality of feeding black and brown babies to alligators. There's cartoons about this, depicting this, advertisements depicting this. This was a well-known torture phenomenon done by white supremacists. And so for them to lean into that, to your exact eloquent point, they're saying, yeah, this is what we want to do. This is exactly who we are. This is what we learned from our grandparents who were colonizers, and we're going to keep doing the exact same thing. So it is extraordinarily dangerous. It's one. Second thing is, you're right, on the messaging side, I think Democrats just need to lean in and say, yeah, we do believe healthcare should be paid for by our tax dollars. You want people to die of cancer? What is wrong with you? Yeah. We do believe that people should be paid a living wage, and Walmart shouldn't be able to benefit off of corporate welfare because they don't pay their people enough. Why are you bootlicking billionaires? What the hell is wrong with you? Like lean into that stuff. I don't understand why they're not. Instead, and I can't remember the politician who did this, but he famously accused his opponent of having sex with a pig, and his team was like, that's not true. He goes, oh, I know it's not true. I just want to see him defend it. Because once you're defending something that ridiculous, you've already lost. And that's the point. And that's the trap that Democrats keep falling into over and over and over again. It's enraging.
100%. Yeah. And they just, they have a way like of not caring, right?
Yeah.
And can we, wait, Tara Palmieri just joined. We can't add people, right? We don't know how to do that.
Let's figure it out. We're too.
Oh my God. Should we add Tara?
Let's do it. How do we do it? I think only you can do it because you're the main host.
Okay, let's see. I don't know if she's literally like on the toilet right now, but
be awkward.
She's not available. Okay. So that's fine. We appreciate you joining, even if you're not, you don't want to hop on to a live with 500 people. I totally get it. Yeah. And I hate that we do have things to learn from them, not like of just their strategy that they use, but for cruelty and for, the most. Oh, Tara's like, did you invite me? You try invite her again. Okay, wait. Let's see.
Should be able to.
If it works. Waiting. Okay, maybe she'll join. Wait, this is my dream, by the way. It's just like it's like we're just on FaceTime.
There you go. Hey.
Hi. I just saw you and I was like, wait, should we just add her in? Because oh my God, what a day.
Oh my God, I look crazy right now though.
You look great.
You look amazing.
Spray tan.
Oh my God,
I got a spray tan.
We love it. It's that kind of day. It's that kind of day.
You know when you get the spray tan and it's like it's still on your face.
Yeah.
So I
know nothing about that. I've never gotten
an orange face. Okay, I'm an orange face.
I've got my natural melanin tan. I got my natural suntan from being brown. That's how I've been my whole life.
Same on spray tans.
Exactly.
Man. You know what, Tara? I really wanted a spray tan today because when I'm sad and depressed is when I'm like, you know what, fix this? A fucking spray tan. But you look amazing. Tell us what your thoughts are about what went down. Were you up all night covering this? Oh, her phone died.
There we go.
She just texted me.
There we go. Died. It was a spray tan question.
Well, you know what? We got her in. We have to enjoy the small pleasures. Maybe everyone can tell us what they're doing to, like, what's something that they're doing to bring joy today or tonight, wherever you are in the world, or something you're going to do this weekend that's going to bring you joy.
There we go. Always
what are you going to do?
I actually, so I'm trying to figure out, this is the coolest thing. So when I got accepted to law school, the dean of admissions was this sweet old Jewish lady named Michelle Roman. And unbeknownst to me, she's Canadian. I found out not long after. She wasn't hiding it. And so on Monday, she has her citizenship interview. She's like this amazing 86-year-old, sweetest, oldest Jewish lady you ever met in your life. And she asked if I would stay with her and go with her for her citizenship interview. So I might actually just stay an extra couple of days to take her to her citizenship interview, which would be the coolest thing. The kid that she gave a chance to become a lawyer, taking her to her citizenship interview, which would be amazing. So that's...
I have chills. I have chills. I'm like fully chills all over me. That is so sweet. Yeah. I'm so happy you're doing that.
Yep.
Where are you? Is that why you're traveling? Or wait,
no,
is it this weekend?
it's Monday. It's the day after. I mean, three days from now,
4th
and
of
so
July.
yeah, and so I'm in town for a conference here in Richmond, and then I'll be here Sunday, and I'm gonna probably stay an extra couple of days just so I can take her personally. I like it's kind of poetic, right? Like the brown Muslim Pakistani immigrant that she admitted is now gonna be walking with her to. So I'm looking forward to it. So that's making me happy
That's
right
so
now.
sweet.
Yeah.
Please post up, please
I will.
lighten our feed with that incredible
I will.
post.
I will.
We'll want to see it. That is so incredible. I love that story. I'm going to think about that story for the rest of the weekend. Whenever I see a story about Republicans trying to destroy this country, I'll remember that.
What's your turn now? Your turn now. What are you doing to maintain your joy?
Well, what am I gonna do? Oh, I brought my guitar.
Nice.
I thought it would be visible. No, my friend took it. Yeah, I brought my guitar because I'm on my phone a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm reading a lot. And not books, not enjoyable things. And so I want to, just
Yeah.
make up a stupid song.
I love it.
And that's not about, Mike Johnson,
Are you
like
are you
not think
that
about
are
Mike
you
Johnson.
like that good? Like you can make like an
I'm
impromptu
not.
song?
Well, I'm like goofy. Like I can make
Yeah.
up a bad. It'll be bad, but I bet I can make up a song.
It's your song. Own it. That's it.
That could be our
There you go.
next project.
There
We
you
write
go.
a song about collective resistance and
There you go.
action, and yeah.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Look, I appreciate you, Liz, and it's getting late here, so
Yeah.
I'm fading fast, so I'm gonna go. But thank you for reaching out always. And I think
Mhm.
I'm just gonna make another plug before I go. If you're not subscribed
Yes.
to Liz, you need to subscribe to Liz because this stuff
Subscribe
matters.
to you. Subscribe to you. It's an incredible, again, and just follow him everywhere. Like every time you pop
Okay.
up in my feed, no matter what, I am not only learning something new, but I'm laughing, which is a really, it's like, it's rare. It's a rare combo.
Thank you.
And yes, I can't think of a better thing to spend your money on than to subscribe
Appreciate
to your newsletter and support your work.
You're the best.
So enjoy Richmond, enjoy the conference, enjoy the interview
Yeah.
on Monday, and
Thank
we'll
you.
see all of you soon. Thank you for being so engaged and excited. And thank you, Tara. We're sorry we have to go.
Yeah.
But we're looking forward to the results of your spray tan. We'll do this another time.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.